It's madness out there right now. It's exciting. This is what you want. I played in, a city like Pittsburgh that has a great fan base, and we just didn't have the same draw that you get in the city of San Diego. I think a little bit of kind of what we did last year and what we showed the city, the excitement that we gave everybody, and the excitement that they gave us is kind of built up to this moment. So seeing all the people out there, and I stayed at the Omni last night just to be able to get over here early, and it took me like 10, 15 minutes just to drive that 50 yards to get through the crowds of people, so it's exciting.
Joe, did you work on anything in particular in the offseason to continue to improve?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always kind of fine-tuning pitches. A big focus for me was putting more work into the fastball. I feel like the spin and the stuff that's breaking left is kind of, my bread and butter. That's what I do best. That's, what feels the most comfortable to me. So trying to make some adjustments, get the changeup more involved. That was something I did last year, and just constantly trying to improve a little bit at a time. I'm not necessarily adding new pitches. I'm maybe working some pitches to other sides of the plate that I usually don't throw, but you look a lot at your numbers of what you did and what your consistencies were, and the tendencies that you became a little bit predictable in certain areas. So just trying to make adjustments to that and be a little less predictable as we go into this year.
Well, last year was so different with the lockout and getting guys together. What was the off-season participation like? It seems like everybody was down.
Yeah, it was great. We did a little mini camp about a week ago. We had close to 30 pitchers and catchers out here. Some of the big league guys, some guys that are, on the brink of breaking into the big leagues. We had Salas and Lesko and Lizarraga, some of the real young guys. And I think it was good just to get everybody together. And, we did it the year before with me and Clev and Stammen and Nola. A handful of guys. Crony came out, and I feel like the week and a half, 2 weeks that we've put in together training, going into camp, really kind of set us on the right foot, going into camp. So the idea was kind of get everybody together and build a little momentum, start talking about, the approach to the game this year and the expectations, and have a little bit of fun, get guys, away from their hometowns. A lot of guys are trapped in some cold weather, so coming out here and getting to get out on a boat and do some dinners and just kind of, getting some good weather for a little bit was a really nice week.
How important was it for you to get Tatis back into the fold around his teammates and just make him feel excited again?
Yeah, it's not forced either. I mean, he wants to. I think he's kind of taken that step of trying to move past this and put it behind him and just kind of, change the perception of him out there. And it's not going to be easy. It's something that he's going to continue to face for, definitely this season and probably a couple years to come. But one of the things we talked about very early on was, at some point you're going to have to forgive yourself and just kind of move past it and then try to show everybody who you really are and what's in there. And it's very easy to walk around and feel like you have to have this certain sense of like remorse or, you have to show everyone how bad you feel about what you did, but I think he's done that already, and he's showed everybody, what he's about and the things that he's going to do to fix that. So, having him around was nice this offseason, getting to see him smile again, be happy, and obviously what he can do athletically. So being with him in the pool was challenging.
Joe, how optimistic are you about the offseason additions in addition to what you guys accomplished last year, plus the addition of Tatis?
Yeah, just trying to solidify a few more spots. I think if you look on paper, starting pitching-wise, we're not as solidified there with, true starting pitchers. We have guys that are more than capable of being starting pitchers, just haven't done it in a little while. So, the approach for them coming in, I'm sure, is to, kind of get your feet wet again and back in that starting role and rotation and just be really smart about how we're working and how we're building up to get ready for season. I think health is going to be the biggest thing when it comes to the pitching staff, but we just got a lot more depth this year in the lineup too. We got options off the bench from the right and left side. We got some veteran options off the bench, and the experience is the biggest thing, especially with, our team and having some younger guys, having that veteran presence, and guys like Nelly and Carp that have been around for a long time. Bogaerts, those guys coming into the clubhouse, they bring a lot more than just the physical things that they can do for the team. So, yeah.
How do you view the expectations? Like, this team's going to have higher expectations than what you accomplished last year. How do you bring in? How do you kind of view what that?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the expectations are for the fans and for the people, and not to be disrespectful, but for you guys that are writing. It's like, we build up a hype and there is an expectation for what we do. But for us as players, the expectation is not on the result itself, but it's on like the quality of work that's being put in, the daily effort and the consistency. That's kind of where the expectation is for us. And all the stuff will kind of fall into place if we take care of those things. So.
You mentioned starters going back in. With Nick Martinez coming back in the rotation, what do you see as his best attribute as a starter?
His competitiveness is good, and he's got a couple different weapons. I think he's got the arsenal to be a starter. And I don't know that he necessarily, needed to be forced out of the rotation last year, but he was so good for us in the bullpen, and his mentality, he can kind of do a little bit of everything. But I think he's the guy that everybody wants to be in there. It's just going to be a matter of, durability and health. Can he maintain it for those innings? And I know the work's being put in. It's just a matter of, if the arm and body are going to hold up. So.
When you said that the team signed Xander, what was your reaction?
Extremely excited. Yeah, another shortstop, but I like the idea of just getting the best players, and we'll figure out where to put them. These guys are all athletic enough to bounce around and play different positions. But yeah, I look at the leadership aspect. What you get on the field is ultimately what everyone's excited about. But as a player, you look at somebody that's going to be another leader, and especially somebody that can kind of pull the Latin guys and be their guy, alongside with Manny and Juan and some of these guys, Toddy. It just continues to reinforce the camaraderie and the togetherness of this team. So very excited, yeah.
Joe, the shortstops. You got 4 of them around the infield. One's going to be in the outfield, and then Nola was a shortstop in college. What is it about that position that you got a guy who can play that? They can kind of go anywhere else around the field. I mean, you played in high school too.
Yeah, I think everybody at the big league level now, everyone was the best kid in their hometown and growing up. I'm sure we all played shortstop at some point, but that's usually your best athlete on the field is your shortstop. And yeah, like I said, you can kind of put those guys anywhere and they'll figure it out. The results of fielding the ground ball at second base to shortstop's not all that different. The responsibilities and the places to be, and some of the timing things are a little bit different. But the skill of fielding a ball, throwing a ball, catching a ball doesn't really change no matter where you're at. And those guys are the best at it. So,
Joe, you talked about Fernando might deal with the fallout from that suspension for a couple of years. Young guy, a lot of things came at him very quickly. You spent a lot of time with him this offseason. How is he built or not built to kind of travel that road, I guess?
I don't know, I don't know that anybody really knows how to handle it, but you got to, kind of take it as it comes. And I think the people that you're around, and, it's very hard to do something like that and go through like a process like that on your own. So I think, finding the right people to be around and, listening to the right voices is going to be really, beneficial for him. But ultimately, it's going to come down to him. It's going to take a lot of mental toughness. You're going to have to take it on the chin sometimes and just deal with it. But I think these are things that he's kind of aware of and has been preparing for. So I guess we won't really know until we get out there and we see what the response is like from the fans. But I know the city of San Diego is very excited to have him back. We're excited to have him back as teammates. So we'll be there for him however we can.
How do you feel the vibe in the team with so many Latinos in there?
It's awesome. Those guys bring energy. They're fun. And it's like our guys are all so great. All of them make a huge effort to learn English and interact with the guys, and that's a big part of it too. We all do our part to try to learn the Spanish and communicate with them the best we can. But they put a lot of effort in. The competitiveness is some of the best from players you'll find anywhere in the world. Those guys are the toughest. I was loving watching all the Dominican Winter League videos of those guys. Like they love the game of baseball, and I'm glad we got the ones we have on our team.
So you've run one World Series in Houston. You mentioned playing in Pittsburgh. If you can compare what they did versus what the Padres are building now, with Mr. Seidler throwing, it seems like as many resources as possible to win. As a player, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, it reassures. Like we put in as much effort as we can to win games every night, but sometimes you're just outmanned and outmatched. And to have an owner that's putting forward the money and giving us the best possible chance we can on the field is reassuring as a player. You know that they're as invested as we are, and they want it just as bad as we do. They understand how much it means to the city and what is there waiting for us. So I don't know that I have a great answer for that, but you definitely need, like with the way the league is now, and especially our division with the Dodgers being the powerhouse that they've been, it's like you can only do so much up to a point where we feel like we're a little bit outmanned, and being able to take it from them last year, at the end of the season, and then make some additions this year. I think we feel pretty confident about, where we stand in the division this year. Yeah, I think, it's hard to explain, but once you get a taste for playoff baseball, it changes the game for you. Mentally, it gives you a certain sense of like calmness throughout the regular season. You really realize how intense those playoff games are, and it makes the regular season games seem so much more manageable. So I think that'll play a factor, just the experience, and then getting into those, the postseason this year when the time comes. The fact that everyone's gotten a little taste of it and knows what that feeling's like, they know what the emotions are like, and how they can kind of take hold of you and how to manage that, just getting a little bit of the experience. It gives everyone that desire to fight to get back there, and it gives you that, that comfort of knowing you can succeed and handle those moments. So, but yeah, you do have to take it one game at a time, and you realize that everything you do now is kind of what sets you up for that opportunity to even get there. So yeah, you really have to not get too far ahead of yourself and just take care of what's right in front of you.